This is the Baofeng UV5G. It is a variant of the UV5R that is permitted on GMRS. It operates between 462.562, also known as FRS/GMRS channel 1, all the way up to 462.725 for FRS and GMRS channel 22. It also operates on offsets and tones so that you can access repeaters. They retail for approximately $60 to $70, with them only coming in a 2-pack. That being said, they are roughly $35 each. Other interesting things that we will show you later in the video is that it does come with more than just receiving for GMRS. It receives on very high frequency and ultra high frequency, all the way up, I believe, to 520 megahertz, all the way down to 130 megahertz. This will not be an unboxing video, obviously, but I will show you each individual part and what it does and what each thing can do. As you see here, the antenna does come off with only a few simple turns, meaning that the antennas are replaceable depending on what time you get it. Certain models of the UV5G do not have a removable antenna because the FCC has made them uncompliant, but if you have a certain model, then they are still able to be taken off. Without the antenna, it comes in roughly at 4 inches. And adding on the antenna, you get roughly 9 3/4 inches from the tip of the antenna to the base of the radio. I will now quickly go over every part of the radio before actually turning it on. We will once again go over these, but before I will go over and talk about what each one is. I will now go over everything that the radio has. I will not turn it on yet, but to show you each individual button and what it does before I actually turn it on and show you how they operate. So here you have the antenna, helps you receive and transmit, will not work properly without one attached. Here you have the flashlight. It has 3 modes: on, off, and strobe. Here you have the power as well as the volume knob. Here you have the cable for programming or the microphone if you would rather hold on to something like this than the radio itself. On the side is also a latch so that you can attach the strap to it for your wrist. On the back, it has a belt clip that you attach to the radio itself, not the battery. You have VFO and memory mode, also known as frequency or channel mode. The AB channel selector, the band selector for when you are in frequency mode, the front face panel for programming, the monitor button, the push to talk button, and the call button. When you turn the radio on, you turn it on by simply turning the dial.
Channel mode.
And it will take you to the last mode that you are on. Assuming that you are on channel mode, which you see I have on here, it comes pre-programmed with GMRS 1 to 22, as well as 8 repeater channels, the 8 being GMRS 15 with an offset, all the way to GMRS 22 with an offset. You very easily change the volume by turning this up and down. As you come down here, you can see the A-B button. As you can see right there, it changes from the top channel to the bottom channel. This radio does have a double monitoring feature so that you can listen to 2 frequencies at once. I'm currently on GMRS channel 1 and GMRS channel 2. The light up here that I have shown previously is controlled by one pressing the monitor button. You tap it again and it will strobe. Tap it for a third time and it will turn back off. The push to talk feature is as simple as any other push to talk on a radio. You push it and it transmits, as you saw in the background. I was receiving it. The call button does two things. If you were to press it once, it goes to FM radio, the normal car radios that you would see. If I was to hold it, it would put out an annoying noise that I will show you here in a second. I am not transmitting out the alarm, I am just having it here on site, which I will show you how to change later. And that is what it sounds like. Now you are able to just keep it on site, or you can transmit that alarm out to the radio to let people know that you are in distress. Holding the monitor button, like any other radio, opens the squelch up completely so that you are picking up all frequencies that are coming your way, whether or not they will break your squelch that you have set in the radio. Focusing on the front panel, you have your menu button, your channel select buttons, your exit for when you are in the menu, your 10 keypad numbers, as well as two other buttons here used for other options. If I hold the asterisk button right there and hold it where it says scan, like so,
scanning begin.
It'll tell me that it's scanning, and I will start going through all of the channels that I can program in here. So that way I can, as you see, receive where I need to receive while flipping through all the possible channels. That way, if I pick up something, I know exactly what channel to go on. While it is scanning, if I pick up a frequency and hit exit, it will stop on the channel that I have programmed or the frequency that it has found in VFO mode. Also, if you hit the pound key right here and hold it where it has a key, it will lock so that you cannot accidentally change the channel or do anything other that is stupid. To unlock it, you just simply re-hold the lock button. To switch it to and from channel and frequency mode, you'll hit this button that says VFO.
Frequency mode.
And she will tell you that it is now the frequency mode. Now, if you notice, this is not a GMRS band. This is not like the UV5R where you can unlock it and transmit on any of the frequencies that you desire. If I were to press this button, I cannot transmit on it. It is locked out of being able to talk on frequency mode. That being said, it can still be receiving from 136 to 260. Or likewise, it can also be set to receive from 400 to 520 megahertz. Now, if you don't have Chirp, or you prefer not to use it and you want to learn how to program in your own UV5G, it is slightly more complicated than just using it in Chirp, but none to fear. If you were to type in, let's say, FRS1,
4, 6, 2, 5, 6, 2.
that being FRS1, you'll notice that you still cannot transmit on FRS1. But if you were to
Menu.
hit the menu and flip through until you see the memory channel option, then you will be able to set all of the channels to the frequencies that you like. You just will not be able to name them. To do that, we will actually start with the menu button, and we will go through
Menu.
all of the menu items that are important to this radio specifically and basic GMRS needs. First, you will want to start by pressing the menu button. It's a little hard to see while the backlight is on, but you can see that option 0 is SQL for squelch. Now the squelch on this radio goes from 0 to 9, 0 being completely open, and 9 being set fairly high. To change it, you will want to press the menu button again and set it to 0. You can see I am now picking up everything because I have no squelch. To turn it back on, you would hit the menu, tap menu again, and I like mine set to 3. Filters out just enough. Now, these radios are not known for having the best squelch options. What that means is that realistically the squelch is either on or off. Past 3, I don't see much of a difference, and from 0 to 1, it's basically on or off. On option 1 in the menu, you will see the step. I have mine set to 12.5K. In frequency mode, that means how much your frequency will change every time you hit up or down or decide to scan. I just jumped up 12.5. Going to option 2, we'll see transmit power, high or low. Now, these claim to go up to 5 watts. They're probably realistically more 3 to 4, but you could also lower it to save battery if you don't have as big of a distance to talk in between. Now, menu option 4 is Vox. Vox basically says that if I turn it on and I talk loud enough into the microphone, it will have no need for the push to talk feature. What you will need to do is just talk into the microphone and you will automatically transmit out. These are not good for noisy vehicles or anything of the like that might pick up a lot of noise, such as concerts, airports, crowds, etc. Option 5 is how you select between wideband and narrowband. For GMRS, I guarantee you're going to want wideband. It's going to make you sound clearer. It's almost as if you're listening between AM and FM. We all know FM sounds a little bit better. The next option that may suit your needs on here is the beep. It's not the Roger beep. We'll get to that later. This beep is what decides whether or not it makes this noise every time you touch your radio. Options 10 and 11 are fairly simple. You hit the menu option, and you can see all the different codes that you can use for your private line. Basically, they are set so that you can activate repeaters after you have your offset, or if you want to filter out all the other noise and people who are talking. So that is basically the same for the CT-CSS. It is just a different version. You have the receiving digital coded squelch or the receiving CT-CSS, which is the more normal of the two. Options 12 and 13 are more or less the same, except instead of receiving, it is for transmitting. So if I were to transmit onto a tone of 67 Hertz, everybody with no squelch or the 67 Hertz squelch will be able to hear what I am saying. Option 14 on the menu is the voice. I have it set to English, and it comes with English. You can change it to a couple of different languages.
Voice prompt.
You have Chinese, off, and English. Option 25 on your UV5G is the shift direction. Now,
Frequency direction.
you have positive, negative, or off. If you set it to a negative direction of 5 megahertz, it will drop down to 457. That basically never happens, as it's not permitted. And if you have it in a positive direction, it will go to 467.562. That is how you access certain repeaters on the GMRS, not FRS frequencies. Channel 26
Offset frequency.
goes hand in hand with the shift direction. That is how much you are changing.
0, 0, 5, 0, 0, 0.
This now says
Confirm.
that I will have an offset of 5 megahertz, so that whenever I do transmit, this will now add 5 to the frequency, 467.562.
Menu.
5. If you have everything customized to how you want it, channel and option 27 is the memory channel option. That is how you save the frequency to your radio, so that you can then go to
Channel mode.
and talk on said frequency. Option 28 goes fairly decently with the last option. It is the delete channel.
Delete channel.
So if I want to go to my channel 1 and hit delete, it will delete my GMRS 1, because that is what I have pre-saved to channel 1. On channel and option 29, you have the background LED. You can change
Backlight
it
selection.
from purple, blue, and orange, or off if that is what you prefer. I prefer purple, so I keep it to purple. You can also customize your receive LED when you receive what you see here. You also can see whenever you are transmitting what color pops up. I have mine set to orange, therefore whenever I transmit, it shows orange. An important feature that I said I was going to talk about earlier. Option 32, your alarm mode. Very important. I have mine set to sight. If you transmit, that it will not transmit if it is set to sight.
Menu.
To change that, go to tone.
Confirm.
That now means that when I press and hold the alarm, this radio will hear it, along with all the other radios that is listening to that frequency. Option 39,
Menu.
the Roger beep. Basically, whenever you have it set,
Confirm.
you will hear this every time that you transmit.
Menu.
A lot of people don't particularly care to hear that every time you transmit. It is up to you, but fair warning, people will get annoyed. While you are in frequency mode, going back off of the menu, if you hit band, it will quickly change what band you are sitting on. Very high frequency, ultra high frequency. My honest opinion, if you're looking for a decent walkie-talkie that talks to and from other walkie-talkies, it's perfectly great. If you're just new getting into GMRS and repeaters, it's perfectly fine as well. It receives, it transmits. What more can you ask for? It can talk to repeaters, and it can save named channels. It's not the sturdiest of all sturdy. I myself have dropped it before and have just super glued the battery into place because the clip broke. Not to say that they aren't somewhat sturdier than that. I dropped it from a fairly high place onto a very hard spot. But that is all the buttons and options that is important for somebody who is just starting out on the UV5G. If you have any questions, leave it in the comments. I'm sure I'll answer it. I'm sure there's things I forgot to mention, and I'm sure there's things that I oversaid. But before I go, I will say this. To talk on the repeaters, as along with the other GMRS channels, you do need a GMRS license. There is no test to take a GMRS test. The test is getting through the website itself. It's terrible. It costs $35 to the federal government for your license that lasts 10 years. The same with the UV5R. This does require a license, requires a ham license. This requires a GMRS license. Therefore, once you get a GMRS license, you can use this. And finally, do I recommend this radio? I do. If you go hiking, off-roading, or just general talk with your friends, it's perfectly acceptable. Could hand one off to your son or daughter and have a secondary means of communication or with your loved ones. That being said, I personally rate this an 8 or 9 out of 10. It does exactly what it's designed to do and nothing more.